There's a principle in Khipus called duplicate accounting. Garcilaso de la Vega, the author of Comentarios Reales de los Incas, is one of the early chroniclers of Peru. He was descended from the Incas on his mother's side, and his father was Spanish. He wrote in Spanish about Inca traditions, and as well as history, Pizarro, and the conquest. I highly recommend the book. It's great fun. Anyways, in his writings, he talks about Khipus and Quipucamiocs, the men who kept Khipu records. According to Garcilaso de la Vega, each village had at least 4 cord keepers, and larger villages had up to 20 or 30, with these men maintaining duplicate records. This is one of the ways that people had a lot of confidence in the Khipu records, was that there were duplicates that agreed with each other. Another example is in Tupicocha. In Frank Salomon's book, The Cord Keepers, he talks about the village of Tupicocha, and according to historical records there, their patrimonial quipus were being used and being made in pairs. The article we'll be discussing in this video is Accounting in the King's Storehouse, the Inkawasi Khipu Archive, by Gary Urton and Alejandro Chu. There's a link to the article in the description below. The article talks about an archaeological excavation that uncovered quipus at a storehouse, where food was collected. We're going to focus on 4 quipus. Here is an image of the first pair. They are physically tied together here. Can you see how neatly the knots line up? It's easy to see place value in this photo. And here is an image of the second pair of quipus that are also physically tied together. Let's compare one quipu from each set. First, I want to explain naming conventions for the quipus. In this video series, I use a standardized OKR, or the Open Khipu Repository number, for the quipu whenever possible. For example, the quipu shown on the left is KH0503, which is the OKR number. The museum number is 13092 Part A, and in the article, the investigator uses a different number with the first 2 letters of his last name. So I prefer to use the OKR number so everything's standard across the board. First, let's look at the left quipu. There is a recurring pattern of basic math. 106 minus 15 equals 91. Pendant cords drawn at half length means they are broken, so they may have missing knots at the bottom and the number value may be incorrect. For example, 161 minus 15 equals 146, but we only see a value of 140. So the cord might have originally had 146, but when the cord broke, the long knot with the number 6 fell off. So we see this pattern of subtracting 15 throughout the quipu. And I also think it's interesting to look at the coloring. Now let's look at a quipu from the other pair, KH0491. The top cords shown here are attached directly to the primary cord and follow the pendant numbering. They are not totalizers like the top cords in the previous chapter. The top cords do not have knots nor cord value. The second top cord is called TPA because it's tied around the primary cord. This one has fewer numbers, but we can see there are a lot that are the same. And the math is set up a little differently with 15 at the end. So here, 110 minus 95 equals 15. Do you see any other similarities or differences? Now let's look at the next duplicate pair. As a side note, these pendants were drawn longer to fit in all of the subsidiary cords. In the actual quipu, they're not any longer than the other pendants. The quipus were records. They were not used as a tool to add, subtract, multiply, etc. The Incas had a system of rocks similar to the abacus, which they called Yupana. It's this table in the corner. This table could be drawn in the dirt and stones used to do calculations. The Yupana can be used to add large numbers together very quickly. Because the Yupana is often used with quipus, many articles talk about them together, but this video series will not cover Yupana. So if you want to know how they worked or how to use them, I put some links in the description to other YouTube videos. Please feel free to discuss any other similarities or differences that I may have missed in the comments below, and I hope you enjoy your studies. Bye!